Hello, everybody. Savina, I did see your email, and it's fine if you find it. It's fine if you want to share your screen. That's okay.
Okay, thank you.
I only just saw it. Didn't have time to answer it. Sorry.
It's okay.
Okay. All right, we've got some folks here. That's good. We'll get started. So let me share the screen here. And we'll go to the syllabus. If anybody has any questions at any time, just go ahead and break in. You can hear me and you can see me, I hope, or at least see my screen. If not me, that's okay. All right, let's have a look. Syllabus. Textbook. The only required textbook is the survival guide, which can be also downloaded from a link. Here we go, survival guide files. So you can download these, or you can buy the hard copy and you can get that at the bookstore. Does anybody having any difficulty with any of that so far? Okay. I've got some recommended books. Zumdahl Introductory Chemistry it's not a bad book. I would recommend getting that as an earlier edition than the current one, and you should be able to pick that up fairly cheaply. There's a store that's named after a very long river in South America. I'm not going to say what that store is, but that's a possible way that you might be able to pick that up pretty cheaply, probably for under $20. And it's not a bad value because you can use any edition you like, and nothing has really changed from edition to edition in that book. You'll also need a periodic table and a scientific calculator, one that handles exponents. Okay. These Zoom sessions that we're having here are not mandatory. I mean, I'm just having them as an extra thing, something so that you can interact with me, ask me questions, that kind of thing. I can give you a brief outline of what you're going to see in the upcoming week and what's going to be due. So today, for example, I mean, this week, Sunday, is the due date for modules 1 and 2. I'm going to go through and show you exactly what's going to be due there and how to deal with it, and how to deal with everything that goes on there, and possibly look at some problems that are going to be some of the more difficult ones that you'll have to handle during modules 1 and 2. But that's pretty much all I want to do today, as well as go over the syllabus. So as I said, there's no mandatory nature to this Zoom thing, and you shouldn't feel bad if you can't go. I'll record them and I'll put the links in the Zoom folder. So if you do miss them, at least you'll be able to access that. All right, Z, we have any questions so far? Okay. So yeah, as I've got in the syllabus, you've got the Zoom problem solving sessions. I want you to notice that there's not one every single week. You'll notice that there isn't one on February 17th, for example, and there isn't one on February 4th. Now, the reason for that is because you get 2 weeks for modules 5 and 6. And generally what I've noticed is that, to be honest, a lot of students don't work on anything during that first week. They should, but they don't. And most people get more value. I don't want to have to do the same thing twice. So I just do it 4 days or 5 days before the due date for those specific modules. However, if you do need help with modules 5 and 6 in that time period where I'm not having these Zoom sessions, please call me or email me or whatever, and we'll work out any problems you might be having with those modules. So going back up here, I've got my cell phone, 265-2050. I think you can even text me on that number as well. But I haven't set up my office hours yet. But once I set up my office hours, which will be under the office hours link here, then you'll be able to see when I'll be available. And if you can call me on the phone during those office hours. The other way you can get help is through tutor.com, and we have SPC tutors on tutor.com. You can talk to them or you can talk to me. But there's always plenty of people to help you, so make sure that you take advantage of that. And realize that the only reason that people fail this course is not because the material is hard. It actually isn't. The reason people fail is because they leave stuff to the last minute and they don't get their assessments in. It's really that simple. If you don't do that, I mean, if you do the work and you get things in on time, there's no reason you shouldn't pass the course. Any questions so far? Okay. So as I've got here, get it done early. That's my mantra. Get it done early. All right, so I'll go through and show you exactly what you need to do and also talk about the schedule here before I do that. So let's look at the schedule. So as you can see, we've got modules 1 and 2. Those are due this Sunday. Now those aren't particularly difficult, so don't get all upset saying, oh gosh, there's a lot of work we have to do. It's not actually not as bad as it looks. I'll go through this and show you. And then on module 3 will be due the following week, etc. And it'll keep on going through. As you can see, the tests will be due on Wednesday, but there's also some extra credit, and that extra credit closes on the day before the test is due. Now, I want you to keep in mind, just because I've got the test 1 being due on that Wednesday, February 5th, you can do it any time up to that point. You could do it tomorrow if you wanted, or today, or even right now during this Zoom session if you felt like you wanted to do that test. But you don't have to. You can, but you can wait. But I would really recommend doing it sooner. And a lot of people don't do this extra credit, and I'll show you how to get that extra credit as well in a bit as well. I understand there's a lot of people who can't attend these Zoom sessions at 11 a.m. because you're doing other things. I get that. That's why I'm not making them mandatory, and that's also why I'm recording them as well, so you can access them later. Does anybody have any questions about the schedule so far? Okay. All right, so let's look at what I think you should do. Let's go to module 1, because that's where you should be starting. And I'll also talk about the test and everything as well, and how to deal with that. So if we're looking at module 1, so I'll go to module 1 here, just click on that. I've got a lot of resources here. If you want to access a periodic table, that's here as well. See a periodic chart, you can download that and look at it. What I recommend is that you do the module 1 Softchalk. So that's it here. This is how I think you should go through the material. So you go through the material, module 1 Softchalk, and you'll notice that occasionally you'll be seeing these kinds of little interactive exercises. That's kind of to test yourself as you go, and it gets recorded as a score up here. That's not graded or anything, but it gives you an idea of your understanding of the module as you're going through it. But I feel that this is the best way to go through the material. Occasionally also you will see links to videos, maybe not here. And you'll see, yeah, there's a video here you can click on. So all of this is what you're seeing in the survival guide, but it's also combined with links to videos, and also links to also these problems that you can do as well. Does anybody have any questions so far? So each module has its own Softchalk. Okay, we have a question in chat. Can we use periodic chart on tests and quizzes? Let me get to that, Savina. I will talk about that when I open up the test, and you'll get to see exactly what you get. Okay, I will talk about that though. Now, the Softchalk is what I'm recommending for you to go through to learn the material. I think it's a really good resource. Does anybody have any questions so far? Okay. So what you'll notice is that you've got down here the Module 1 assignment. And for every assignment, that's every assignment, there are going to be video answers to every single question in the assignment. You can do the assignment as many times as you like. And I would recommend doing it till you get 100% since you can. And you've also got the video answers here as well. So if you're having trouble with any of the problems in the assignment, look at the video. Anybody got any questions so far?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, the survival guide to chemistry, the assignment one, there's like a practice one. Is it like almost the same thing as the assignment in the?
It's similar. It's
Okay.
similar, but you know you'll yeah, it's got actually it's almost the same. Kirsten, almost the same.
Thank you.
But you'll get most value out of just doing this one, I think. You can do it in the survival guide first and then do it here, and that would be fine. But you can do the module 1 assignment as many times as you like. It's got unlimited attempts. So I think it's better sort of time-wise just to do that, since there's no real penalty for failing it, because you can do it as many times as you want. And then you'll do the module 1 practice quiz, and you'll need 80% on that to get to the credit quiz. Now the practice quiz is going to be very similar to what you're going to see on the credit quiz. I'll open up the assignment first just to give you an idea what you're going to see there. I'll preview that. And you can see that you have these questions that you'll answer. And as I said, there's a video explanation for every last one of these questions. And the questions don't change for the module 1 assignment. It's always going to be the same.
I have another question.
Yes, Kirsten?
So, for the assignment, we're allowed to use a periodic table, correct?
You can do whatever you want with the assignments because they're all open book.
Okay, thank you.
Along with the, the practice and credit quizzes, they're all open book as well. The only thing that's not open book is the test, which we'll get to in a minute, okay? So let's look at the module 1 quiz practice. Now, as I said, the practice quiz is going to give you an idea of what the credit quiz looks like. You need to get 80% on the practice quiz, but the practice quiz doesn't change at all. And you can see that you just go through and you can do that, and you should be expecting similar questions on the credit quiz. So that's just really a guide to the kind of formatting that you're expecting, the kinds of questions. But if you've gone through the Softchalk and you understand everything, you really shouldn't have and the assignment, I don't think you'll have too much trouble with it. That's the idea. Let me take you through the gradebook here so you can get an idea of what you're going to see there. So I'm showing you what it looks like from a student point of view. So you can see you've got the module quizzes and how much they're worth. And then you've got the module assignments and how much they're worth as well. And then you've got the tests down here, and then the extra credit as well, which I'll go through in a minute. And then down here, it gives you everything sort of laid out so you can see exactly how you've done and how much you're getting for the homework and all of that. And the most important things to you will be the test 1 total, including homework and extra credit, test 2 total, etc., down to test 4. That's going to be the key to determining what your grade is in the class at any given time. Does anybody have any questions so far?
Yeah, I have a quick one real quick.
Yeah.
So first, it's talking about, you said the test is due Wednesday, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Wednesday, February 4th. Yeah.
Oh, the first one,
Yeah.
February, you said?
Yes.
So, on the homepage, where's the due date for that? Because I didn't see it yet. That's why I'm getting kind of confused when the actual first test was due for the module 1.
Okay. Well, it's a couple of things. You can look at. I'll show you a couple of ways that you can see this. I'll stay in here as a student to make sure that I see exactly what I'm supposed to see as well. But you've got the schedule here in the syllabus, which tells you exactly when the tests are due. So you see test 1 is due, actually February 5th is when it's due. You see that? So that's in the syllabus. But if you go to course content and you open up the sorry, excuse me. If you open up the test 1 folder and just click on test 1, actually that's, for some reason, it should be February 5th. I don't know. It should be coming up that way. It should be February 5th. I will change that. But you've got the practice test here, and that's going to be, that doesn't close. And the test 1, actually I will change it. It's supposed to be February 5th.
Okay, thank you.
It should be matching what's in the syllabus. Sorry, it doesn't. I'm sure I would have been alerted to that at some point. But yeah, I'll change that to the 5th. There we go. And update. So now you've got test 1 here, that's due February 5th, and the extra credit here is actually due on the 4th. Now the way you'll get the extra credit is to do this practice test here, which is the same as the test you'll actually be taking. And you can take the practice test as often as you like. So I want you to think back through your school career and think back how many times you've been actually able to practice the test you're actually going to be taking, and unlimited times, and do as well as you like. And then you also get extra credit if you get 80% on it prior, 1 day prior to when the test is due. So if you do that before February 4th, then you can get an extra 5 points. You know how many people take advantage of that usually? Maybe less than a third of the class. Less than a third of the class actually takes the practice test, which is the test they'll actually be taking, and gets 80% on it a day before it's due. Come on. Come on, you can't be allergic to free points. Does anybody have any questions?
Is it exactly the same test, the practice test, as the test?
Yes. What varies though each time you take it, I mean the questions are the same. What varies are numbers and possibly compounds and elements. I'll show you something else as well with that too. But I'm going to open up the test here and show you what it looks like. This is the practice test. So you're getting the same, you'll get the same things. Now somebody was asking about periodic tables. I think Savina, you were asking about that. So you get the periodic table in the test here. If you have trouble reading it, you can always do Command plus or Control plus, depending on what you're on here, and that will enlarge it. See that? And then you've got your questions, and then you can see you've got a conversion sheet here. That's for module 3. And you'll have exactly the same sheets. You'll have exactly the same sheets in the real test as you have on the other test. Now the other, as you have on this test here. Now the other thing is that there is a calculator in HonorLock that you can use as well, but I'm actually allowing you to use your own handheld calculator too. because I was able to put that into the conditions. But just be careful with that. Make sure you are using just a handheld calculator and not a cell phone. Because if you are using a cell phone, you get caught, you'll be in a lot of trouble. Let's just put it that way. Does anybody have any questions? I'm just submitting this to get out of it. So Valentina, I think you were asking if the test is exactly the same. Well, as I said, the numbers will vary, but the questions are going to be the same. But there's another little caveat there as well that I'll show you. Test one study guide tells you exactly what kinds of questions are possible. So for modules 1 and 2, question 1 will always be electron diagrams for atoms, expected charge of ion. Then for question 3, you can see that the question could be about any of these things that are listed. So the only way that you can make sure you see all of these is to take this test multiple times. If you do that, then you'll get to see every possible question that you could possibly get on the test. So does anybody have any questions? If you do the work, you'll pass. It really is that simple. If you don't do the work, there's a very good chance you're going to fail. But the work itself is not hard. The material is not hard. The only challenge is just making sure you put the time into it. That's it. It's really transparent. It's super transparent. Does anybody have any questions? Nobody has any questions about the test, hey? If you've never used Honorlock before, I have a practice test down here somewhere. I believe I do. If I don't, then I certainly will add it. Okay. Yeah, I'll add in an Honorlock practice test here if there isn't one here, just to make sure you understand what you're going to need to do each time. Okay, does anybody have any other questions? Okay, so going back to the syllabus, we'll talk about a little bit about grading here. All right, so there you go. Here's the grading, and it tells you the homework is worth 300 points and how much each of those is worth. So that's the assignment and the credit quiz. That makes up the homework. So the assignment and credit quiz each case. And then the tests are worth 140 points each. And the final is worth 140 points as well, and it may replace one lower test grade. You'll see that the extra credit for each one is worth 5 points. It's quite generous. And you can see the grading scale here is just your standard kind of grading scale. But there are some other things as well. Let me see if I've got it here. I guess that's what it is. All right, so I'll have to look at this, but I thought that there was another way that you could obtain an A or B in the course. I'll get back to you on that. Here we go, exempting the final. Here we go. You may exempt the final with a grade of A if you've scored more than 90% on each of tests 1 to 4, including homework. That's more than 90%, not an average, more than 90%. If you do that, then you can exempt the final with an A. You can exempt the final with a B with more than 80% on tests 1 to 4, including homework. Does anybody have any questions? If you have any scores less than 80%, you'll have to take the final. And if you do have a B and you fail the final, you'll still have a B in the course. But you have to get more than 90% on all 4 tests to exempt the final with an A. Does anybody have any questions?
I do.
Yes,
So
Kirsten.
for the tests, we only have one shot at taking it, right?
I think so, yes.
Okay.
But you've got the practice test. You can take that as many times as you like, and it's the same test. So if you get 90% on the practice test closed book, say 3 times, I can't see how you can fail the real test. It just doesn't seem possible to me. It's the same test. All right, any other questions? So syllabus related questions. I'm looking for any syllabus or course related questions anybody has. Everything clear? Nobody's sort of a little bit cloudy about anything at this point? Okay, let's talk about what's due on Sunday then. So what will be due on Sunday is these assessments in the Module 1 folder, the Module 1 assignment, the Module 1 practice, and the Module 1 credit. Now the Module 1 practice quiz, you need to get 80% on that. That opens up the credit quiz. Now the practice quiz is not for credit. It's strictly really to open up the credit quiz. So make sure you do that. And then also make sure you do the Module 2 assessments as well. That's Module 2 assignment and the Module 2 credit quiz, which you'll get to by opening the Module 2 practice quiz. Does anybody have any questions about what's going to be due on Sunday at 11:59 p.m.? Is anybody uncertain about the resources they'll be using in order to be able to do those quizzes and assignments? So you'll be using the Module 1 and Module 2 Softchalks to do that, to learn about the material before you take the tests or take the assessments. If you have questions, you need help, call me, email me, talk to someone on tutor.com. Any of those 3 options. Be more than happy to help. All right, any other questions? Okay, let me go through some of the harder stuff in Module 1 and in Module 2. No, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. I'm just going to give you some pointers. And I'm not going to go through every question, but there are going to be questions I will go through. So the first one here is about ionic charges. Now an ion is a charged particle, and we talk about number of valence electrons. And valence electrons are the electrons in the outer shell of an atom. We did do a little bit of diagramming earlier, but it turns out for iodine, when we look at it, that's a terrible circle. It's a little bit better. Not much better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. Now the thing is, and I'm actually going to open up another instance of my courses here so I can do this. Let's look at the periodic table here. Here we go. So if you look at where iodine is, it's in this column here. It wants to have, though, as many electrons as these guys. These are the noble gases, and they have what's called a full octet, which means they have 8 electrons, and that's pretty much the aim of everything. So if you've got iodine, which has 7, what it would like to do is add an extra electron, and electrons are negatively charged. So the charge on this I, once it picks up another electron, would be -1. So if it was sulfur, say, it was the question, sulfur, as you can see, would have 6. I can count them here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 would have 6 valence electrons. That's 6 electrons in its outer shell. To get to 8, what it will do is it will take 2 electrons. And that would be S2 minus. So if we're gaining electrons to get 8, that's fine. But what if there's less than the requisite number? So let's have a look. So another couple of examples here. Let's say we've got, say, aluminum. If you look at aluminum, it's 1, 2, 3. It has 3 valence electrons. You'll get this all from the module. And rather than gaining 5, what it will do is it will lose 3. And the charge it would have then, because those are negatively charged, would be 3 plus. Now the reason it's 3 plus is because aluminum has 13 protons, it has 13 neutrons, and it would also have 13 electrons as well. If you take these 3 of these away, then you'll have 10 electrons. And you can see that the net charge then would be +3. So losing electrons would result in a positive charge, and gaining electrons results in a negative charge. Again, I'm just pointing this out to you so that you can gain a little bit more perspective when you do the problems here. So I'm just looking here for anything else that might be problematic. No, I think we've already, okay, we haven't been through this here. Okay, so when you diagram an atom of chlorine, so you can use the periodic table here to help you out with that. Look where chlorine is on the periodic table. And you can see that in order to do that, to diagram it, we'd have the nucleus, and then in the first row, we'll have 2 electrons. In the second row, we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then in the third row, we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the answers to that would be 2, 8, and then 7. So 2 in the first row, 8 in the second row, 7 in the third row. Anybody have any questions? Okay. Well, I think that's pretty much all I want to go through. There's some the module 2 questions aren't that difficult, and I think you should be able to handle them yourselves. If you're having any problems, give me a holler, call me, email me, and or go to tutor.com and talk to an SPC tutor or any tutor on there, and they'll help you out as well. But I don't think there's going to be too much trouble with the material itself. It's pretty easy. It's just putting the time in. So don't leave it all to the last minute. Make sure that you get what you need done. Does anybody have any questions or any last minute things about the course they want to ask about? You're sure? Any questions? Anything at all?
Nope, I'm good for now.
All right. Well, if anybody does have anything, give me a holler. I'll talk to you later. All right. Thanks all. I'll see you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
No worries. Have a good day.
You too.
Valentina, do you need anything?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
All right. No worries.